God shows these 7 signs when he disapproves of a relationship. Pay close attention. This may be uncomfortable, but it's important information that can save and improve your life. When a relationship is not for you, your soul knows it before your mind does. And yes, you can call it God, intuition, or biology, but the signs are there. First sign, you constantly lose your peace. This isn't just a bad day, it's ongoing and it's no coincidence. Neuroscience has shown that when you're in an insecure relationship, your nervous system stays in a constant state of alert, triggering anxiety and chronic stress. Second sign, you're drifting away from yourself. You know, I focus on conscious wealth and teach you to improve your life, so pay attention. You're drifting away from yourself. Before you used to grow, dream, expand, and now you're fading away. Psychology also calls it loss of relational identity. You adapt so much that you stop being yourself. Third sign, you feel more anxious than loved. Healthy love regulates the nervous system. It doesn't disturb it. Studies on attachment show that secure relationships reduce cortisol. Toxic relationships spike cortisol. Fourth sign that you shouldn't be in that relationship and that God, the universe, or your body is sending you signals. You betray your values to make it work. And here's something key. When you cross your own boundaries, your self-esteem shatters. Fifth, the signs repeat themselves. People, situations, conversations, the same message appears over and over again. It's not a coincidence, it's a lack of action. Sixth, you give everything and receive very little. You get crumbs. And this creates what psychology calls intermittent reinforcement, the same pattern that creates emotional addiction. Seventh, and this is the clearest and most important one, you're afraid to let go, but you feel a lot of relief when you imagine it. Fear comes from attachment, relief comes from the truth. And here is the reality that nobody wants to accept. God or life doesn't break relationships on a whim. They break them to return you to yourself. Write down here, I choose relationships that give me peace, not anxiety. If you want to know more about how life works, I encourage you to read my book, Manual of Conscious Wealth. It comes with instructions. Simple instructions that will guarantee you live each year better than the last. Let's move forward and let's all go together, hand in hand. See you soon. 12 ways a woman helps a man earn more money. For me, being a couple means building together. This is the key point. The second thing is that a man must rise above and be exceptional to deserve and attract this woman who builds with him. I dedicate myself to developing exceptional men and women. Let's begin. A man's success doesn't depend only on him, it also depends on the emotional environment he lives in. Therefore, a man will only go so far on his own, but with company, with a team, he'll go much farther and much faster. And here's where it gets interesting. Psychology has been showing for years that men's performance, decision-making, and ambition are deeply influenced by their immediate environment. That's why choosing a partner, both for men and women, is one of the main and most important decisions we have to make. It must be done very carefully. Well, studies on relationships like those by psychologist John Gottman show that emotional stability in a relationship improves focus, resilience, and decision-making abilities. Why do many people avoid relationships, past disappointments, and problems? What should they do? Keep believing in love and keep trying until it works out. Relentlessly, never, never, never give up. All right, a simple translation of everything I'm telling you. A man at peace is more productive. A man who is at peace, well cared for, and feels the love and appreciation of the woman in his life. So, if you want to enrich your relationship, listen to this. First, believe in him even when there are no results yet. That's where empires are built. Second, don't control him. Give him autonomy. A man who feels watched shuts down. A man who is trusted expands. Third, be happy on your own. If all your happiness depends on him, it becomes pressure, not inspiration. Fourth, create peace at home. An environment without unnecessary conflicts improves mental clarity and financial decisions. Fifth, validate his effort in front of others. Public recognition activates his motivation and identity as someone who grows. Sixth, respect him even during the process. Don't speak to him from your own sense of lack. Speak to his potential rather than his shortcomings. Seventh, take care of yourself because your energy, your presence, and your well-being elevate the whole relationship. Eighth, be solution-oriented, not dramatic. Less emotional noise, more strategic focus, so study and grow both you and him. Ninth, ask questions that open up solutions. Don't criticize, expand his vision. 10th, total loyalty and correction in private. That builds real trust. 11th, manage your emotions. A man can't build wealth if he feels like he constantly has to rescue. 12th, and most importantly, align your vision with his. You need to get bored, and I'm going to explain to you why today, so pay close attention. I'm about to say something that goes against everything you're doing right now. You need to get bored if you want to be happier. It sounds counterintuitive, right? Well, that's exactly how it is. Let me explain. Today, we constantly avoid boredom. Phones, social media, videos, music, anything just to avoid being alone with our own minds, distractions. But science says something very clear. When you get bored, what's called the default network or the default mode network is activated in your brain. And this network is related to creativity, introspection, and the meaning of life. In fact, studies from Harvard University, like those by psychologist Dan Gilbert, showed something striking. Many people prefer to give themselves small electric shocks rather than be alone with their thoughts for a few minutes. Why? Because when you get bored, you start thinking about what's important. Because when you get bored, thoughts you've been blocking out while you're constantly busy and distracted come up. What are you doing with your life? For example, that's something you might ask yourself when you're without distractions and bored. Does what I'm doing in my life make sense? Get bored so you can ask yourself this, or so it comes up for you. You can ask yourself, am I really happy? And of course, these vital questions are uncomfortable, but here's the important part. That uncomfortable silence is exactly where purpose is born. Whenever you feel empty, you reach for your phone because you dislike that emptiness. And so by doing this, you're training your brain to avoid meaning, depth, and self-reflection. And that, according to multiple studies, is related to the increase in anxiety, depression, and the feeling of emptiness in today's society. Now listen to me carefully. You don't need more entertainment, you need more connection with yourself. So try this. Train without music, walk without your phone, wait without distractions. At first it will be hard for you, but then ideas, clarity, and answers will start to appear. Boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is the doorway to different mental states, to your true self. Write down below in the comments, I allow myself to be in silence. And if you want to live better, I encourage you to read my book, Manual of Conscious Wealth, which gives you simple and easy to follow instructions so you can improve your life every year. Wishing each year is better than the last. See you soon. The imposter syndrome. Feeling like an imposter means you're on the right path. I'm going to share something few people understand. If you've ever felt like you're not good enough, that you don't deserve your success, that at any moment someone is going to find out you're not that good, well, that's not a problem. That's a sign that you're growing. That's a really good sign. People who have imposter syndrome are people who are taking action and doing a lot of things. This imposter syndrome doesn't show up in mediocre people. It shows up in people who are leveling up. In fact, experts like Arthur C. Brooks explain it very clearly. The more success a conscious person has, the more doubts they feel about themselves. And here's a brutal paradox. The most capable people are the ones who doubt themselves, and the least capable are usually completely sure of themselves. This connects with something in psychology known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. Those who know little think they know a lot, and those who know a lot see everything they still have to learn. That famous phrase, I only know that I know nothing, is very relevant here. I think about it often. And now understand this on a deeper level. Your mind is always focused on what's missing. That's how your mind works. The world only sees what you already do well. You see your mistakes, your insecurities, your weak areas, but others are seeing your value, your results, and your impact. And that's where the feeling of being an imposter is born, the imposter syndrome. But you're not. You're someone who is evolving. Because people who truly grow don't feel comfortable. They feel challenged, they feel exposed, they feel like they're under construction. And that's exactly where growth happens. So instead of running away from that feeling, use it. Don't give in to imposter syndrome. Lean into it so you can move forward, so you can keep going. This syndrome is telling you something important. You are not yet who you can become, but you are heading in the right direction. If you never doubt yourself, you've probably outgrown your current self. Write down here, I am growing. Write down here, I am growing. So your mind gets on fire. So it goes into boiling mode. So it gets active. So it starts looking for things so your life gets better. Luck is not always random. Luck is also cultivated. I'm going to tell you something that can completely change the way you see life. Luck is not always something that just happens to you. Many times it's also something you cultivate. Understanding how and why things happen helps you live better. If you don't understand luck, listen closely to what I'm about to say in this video. Let's see. There are things we can't control. There are crises, losses, fires, rejections, unexpected changes, moments that break us on the inside and that we never would have chosen. There are things that are social, global, and there are things that are personal. But even there, even in the midst of general or personal chaos, there is still a question that can change everything. The question is, what do I do now with what has happened? Because there is a kind of bad luck that seems unexpected, but in reality it almost always had been building up for a long time. When a person lives on the edge, when they're always late, when they ignore signs, when they repeat harmful, limiting, negative patterns, in the end it's not just bad luck. It's also a fragile system that one day collapses. And that doesn't just happen in companies or cities. But it also happens in the mind, in relationships, and in daily life. So keep all of this in mind. There's also another force. There's serendipity, that ability to turn the unexpected into something valuable. Sometimes you spill a coffee, you start a conversation, and that conversation changes something in your life. Sometimes a crisis forces you to stop. And in that pause, you discover a truth, a direction, or a version of yourself that you didn't see before, and it makes your life better. The difference often isn't in what happens, but in how you respond to what happens to you. Active luck is born when you observe, connect the dots, and dare to act. When instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You ask, what meaning could this have in my life? Or you can also ask yourself, what hidden opportunity for learning or experience is there here? And there's something else. Many people don't act out of fear of rejection, of making mistakes, or of being ridiculed. But many times the real risk isn't trying. The real risk is not doing it and then living with the question, what if I had taken that step? I've said in many videos you must overcome your fear of rejection, or you won't be able to do what's good for you or what interests you. So life doesn't always give you what you expected, but many times it gives you exactly the door you needed to open to learn what you had to learn. Write down below in the comments, I choose to turn the unexpected into an opportunity. And if you want to know more about how to manage your life better, I encourage you to read my book, Manual de Riqueza Consciente. For those who read it and apply it, I guarantee all of you that you will improve your life and live each year better than the previous one. It's a heartfelt promise and it's real. Practical neuroscience for your life. Your brain is secretly sabotaging your life and you may not realize it. Today, I'll explain how this happens and how to avoid it using neuroscience. So if you feel like you always end up in the same place in your life, that's not you, that's your brain. Your brain is not designed to make you happy. It's designed to keep you safe. We've said this many times, but every time we face disappointment, it seems we forget. Your brain is designed to keep you safe. If you want to install the happiness program, the I'm happy program into your brain, you have to do other things. So that's why you repeat patterns. In neuroscience, this is called predictive processing. Your mind shapes your future from your past, causing repeated relationships, income, and habits. When frustration over this repetition sets in, things worsen as desperation grows. You keep repeating this not because you want to, but because it's what your brain knows. Here's the key point. Every time you try to grow, earn more money, or change your life, your body goes on alert. You feel anxiety, doubt, and fear. Why? It's not weakness, it's not confusion, it's not that you're doing it wrong, it's that your brain likes what's safe, and what's new isn't safe, it's just new. Your brain will always try to bring you back to the starting point, to what happened yesterday, to what already happened. Also, there's another crucial key. Your brain doesn't distinguish well between what's real and what's imaginary. That's why when you repeat negative thoughts, you're training your brain to produce those negative thoughts. But if you visualize what you want with emotion, you train your brain to achieve it. And here's where another key system comes in. The reticular activating system. You only see what your mind believes is important. For example, there are many stimuli out there. What does your mind believe? It will give you what you focus on. So if you think about scarcity, you'll see problems. If you think about opportunities, you'll see changes. All of this is neuroscience. It's not that you're blocked, you're programmed. And when you change your programming, your life changes. Your reality doesn't change when the world changes. It changes when your mind changes. Write below in the comments, I reprogram my mind. If no one criticizes you, you're probably not growing in the right direction. You're probably not doing the right thing. Now I'll explain why. Because real success makes people uncomfortable. When you start to stand out, when you level up, when you stop being average, something changes. People start to react. People want you to be like them. Imagine that 90% of the world's population is not successful. Well, this is pure psychology. Human beings constantly compare themselves to others. There are scientific studies, like those by Leon Festinger, that show we evaluate our worth based on who we compare ourselves to. So what happens then? When you improve without saying anything, you become a mirror for people who haven't been able to or didn't know how to improve. Everyone will see their own failures reflected. That's why your growth can inspire or make others uncomfortable. Here's the twist few people understand. If most people aren't satisfied with their lives, why keep doing what most people do? So, if you're going to do something, if you're going to make a decision and you think, what would most people do in my situation? Well, you do the opposite. Because 90% of people worldwide are neither successful nor happy with their lives. Global well-being data, like the Gallup surveys, show that a large part of the population is unmotivated, without purpose, or disconnected from their work, their life, their partner, their love, and their family. So think about this very clearly. If you do the same as 90% of the rest of the world, you'll get the same results as that 90%, so you won't be criticized there. But if you do things differently and better, that 90% will say, but what has this guy done? They're sure you stole, sure you did it by cheating. So of course they're going to criticize you because you're achieving what they've tried and haven't managed to do. I'm about to ask an uncomfortable question. When you have to make an important decision, are you thinking like an average person or like someone who wants extraordinary results? Look, the fear of rejection often makes us want to be like everyone else, so we don't stand out, so we aren't judged, so we aren't in the spotlight. But that's not going to bring us fulfillment. Because most people don't work out, don't take care of their diet, don't discipline their mind, and don't take action when they're afraid. So, if you do the same, you'll have the same life, a mediocre, average life. But here's the key. Let's see, what does success mean to you? Success isn't about doing more, it's about doing things differently. For example, if most people don't go to the gym, then you go. If most people complain, then you take action and don't complain. When others get distracted, you stay focused. This isn't rebellion, it's strategic intelligence, because the average person is full of excuses. And the excellence you're going to achieve by following all the videos and guidance I give you is built through uncomfortable decisions. Decisions that lead you to a better world. How do you turn pain into power? If you learn to alchemize your energy, you will never lose in life. This is what's important today. Alchemize, transform. So there's one thing I really want you to understand today, and it's this. Learn to alchemize your energy, because if you know how to do this, you will never lose in life. What does it mean to alchemize energy? It means taking any negative emotion that comes to you, sadness, fear, anger, rejection, and transforming it into something that drives you instead of destroying you. Alchemy was about turning ordinary metals like iron into gold. Well then, listen to me carefully. Nothing that happens to you is good or bad. Everything is energy. And that energy is neutral. You make the difference by what you decide to do with it. So if someone criticizes you, if someone rejects you, if someone hurts you, you have two options. Either you get stuck in that low emotion and sink, or you use that energy as fuel to grow, to create, to improve your life. It seems easy to say and hard to do. Well, listen, the people who win in life are not the ones who don't suffer. They're the ones who know how to transform what they feel. And here comes the most important part. When you don't transform the energy, when you haven't learned this, these negative emotions stay inside you. They turn into anxiety, into blockages, into self-sabotage, even into physical problems. But when you're able to move that energy, when you're able to raise it, to channel it, everything changes. That's why creating is so important, like writing, training, working on your purpose, helping others. All of that is transforming your normal daily energy into growth, into higher energy. And there's a question that changes it all. If something happens that you dislike, ask, what can I learn from this? When you stop feeling like a victim and start looking for the lesson, you've just taken back your power, your control, you become a superior being. Because you're no longer reacting, now you're creating, and you're able to maintain your peace, your serenity, and your clarity. From there, you realize something powerful. No one can break you if you can transform what happens to you. It's not what happens to you that defines your life. It's what you do with the energy it brings you. It's the interpretation you make of what happens. Write down here in the comments, I turn everything into power. And if you want to improve even more in your life, reading my book Manual de Riqueza Consciente will help you a lot because it's very practical and contains very, very powerful ideas. Money loves speed. I'm going to tell you something that almost nobody understands about money, and that can change your life. It's very important that you understand this very clearly. Money loves speed, but wealth loves time. These are two important things you need to keep in mind. Let me explain. Most people think they need more information, more security, more clarity, and meanwhile they're missing opportunities every day. A little bit of analysis is good, but making decisions quickly is very important. When you're aligned with your heart, then it's much easier for your quick decisions to be the right ones. When you're not aligned in serenity, in peace and focused, it's more likely that your decisions won't be the right ones. Okay, because money doesn't go to the smartest person, it goes to the one who acts the fastest. Speed means this: seeing an opportunity and acting without delay. Shorten the gap between seeing and acting. When you hesitate too long, what happens? Every time you think about it over and over, someone else is already executing what you haven't dared to do. Because all ideas are in the cloud of ideas of the human collective. And the idea you don't take, someone else will. So, someone else will keep the money that should have been yours because you didn't act quickly. When you hesitate or doubt, you create uncertain results. And when you delay, 90% of the time it's simply because of fear, because you have painful memories from the past that are negatively affecting your ability to make quick decisions. But here comes the second part that changes everything. Wealth is not built with speed, wealth is built with time. So it's very important that you understand. Make decisions quickly, get into business quickly. If you have to get out quickly. But anyway, you can make money quickly, that's the second part. But if you don't keep it long enough, it will never turn into wealth. So most people get this confused. Quick action is not the same as quick results. You need two things at the same time: speed to get in, patience to multiply. It's starting to make sense, right? Let's see if it gets through our thick heads. Mine first, but yours too. Millionaires succeed by acting quickly, not perfectly, and letting time work for them. Because the real partner of wealth is time. You already know that time doesn't exist, but it ages the wine in the barrels. And we have to have a friendly relationship with time. We have to understand it and master it. Here's a powerful thought. Every opportunity you see and don't take trains your mind to be slow, to make your mind slow. Every opportunity you see and take action on trains your mind to be powerful. Money moves toward those who take action, but wealth stays with those who know how to master and manage time, with those who know how to wait properly. Right below, I act quickly and sustain it over time. Write it down here so you can align yourself with everything I'm explaining to you. One last very important thing: the vibration of money and the vibration of love are the same, and I've told you this many times.